Like, and you've seen this before because this is a common issue on the K67.
Basically got a mile or two down the road through a warning light now.
I think there's a problem in our industry that these things do not get the respect that they deserve when they're getting handled.
Joking, dude. Or you watch this, bro.
Today is a pretty big day, boys. Today we're going to be picking up my BMW S1000RR after it's been in the shop for 42 days. And I'm going to be explaining why you absolutely under no circumstances should be buying a BMW S1000RR, or a single R for that matter. Now this comes at a really unfortunate time. I am currently living at home with my parents for the next 3 weeks until I move into my new apartment at the end of August. And so I don't have any room at my parents' house to store more than 2 motorcycles. The number of bikes I've bought has increased to 4, and so I used to have a garage that I could store my bikes in, and that was very useful, but in the apartment that I'm moving into has a garage where I can store all my bikes, so it's not a problem, but it is a problem for these next 3 weeks. And so I'm going to be taking my Panigale V4 up to Ducati Cleveland, which graciously that dealership is letting me store my bikes there for free, given the bad situation that I have. Me and that dealership have worked together a lot in the past. So my H2 is currently sitting there. This bike will currently be sitting there. If you guys are curious to check out these bikes or possibly catch me if I'm ever there, I'm there a lot, and I'm going to be there a lot in the next 3 weeks, swapping out my bike. Check out Ducati Cleveland. They also sell like really great bikes like this one. They don't pay me or anything. This is just all like, they just help me out at every turn. And whenever someone provides me with good service, I always try to make it known that that place or person provides really good service. Conversely, whenever a dealership provides really bad service, or a company or whatever provides really bad service, I make that very publicly known as well. I made a video a little while ago talking about the customer service experience between BMW and Ducati and how Ducati was much better, but today we're going to be talking about why you shouldn't be buying a BMW S1000RR, because it's a lot of people's dream bikes, and I want people to know exactly why you should not be buying that bike. I'm also very sad that I'm going to be turning in this bike. However, we are about to get hit by a heat wave next week, and so I figured if one bike had to go, I have my MT-07, the S1000 will be home. I mean, it's not like you can't ride this bike during the heat, but if I had an option to ride my MT-07 around during 90-degree traffic, or this bike with the, I'm probably going to choose my naked bike. I am going to severely miss this bike during the night rides, but it does suck because I every time I hop on this bike, it's an experience and I love it. I am never selling this bike. I know they just came out with a new one, or Ducati just announced that 2025. I don't think I would replace this specific bike with that. Yeah, S1000RRs are really good investments on paper. They're really good to put around the city on if that's really your prerogative. They have a very easy clutch point, which most super bikes are kind of hard to put around the city on. Like, this one's not fantastic about doing these speeds, but it can do it, obviously. Like what I'm doing right now, it's not, I put it in street mode, and like the throttle's not like super janky or anything. It can kind of just hold it at like a nice steady level, and it's doing 40 and a 35, which is like perfectly legal. I think S1000 is just going to be better at like going through those school zones. It's a little bit, tiny bit more comfortable. I personally thought my R1 was a little bit more comfortable than my S1000. They have heated grips, which this also has heated grips. It has cruise control, which this does not have cruise control. The next generation of Panigale is getting cruise control, so that's why it's like the waters are being muddied a little bit. The S1000RR has a great engine, great low down torque, great high-end power. Like it definitely deserves all that like social media praise that it gets. As someone who bought one and owned one for almost a year now, do not, under any circumstances, buy a BMW S1000RR brand new. Used, you can make a case as long as you get it for like under 18K, like, you know, you get a good deal on it, it's already got an exhaust on it, fine. I spent $25,000 on my S1000. I put a $3,000 exhaust on it, put all these mods on it, only for the bike to have multiple failures with the quick shifter and the water pump blew. I also have problems with like minor quality issues like paint and button quality and other various things, but regardless, that bike costs way too much money for it to be sitting in the shop for 42 days out of my summer. We have very short, we have some of the shortest seasons in Ohio out of anybody in the United States. It is absolutely ridiculous to have that bike sitting the majority of the summer. I said this in my last video, but imagine that bike is your only motorcycle. You spent 30 grand to have a really nice bike that you're super proud of, only for it to sit in the shop because you can't work on it. I did put in a dealer complaint. The process of lemoning this bike, which is basically, since it's been in the shop for over 30 days, you can lemon law the bike, and there's a few options that you can do there. But I hate that I have to do this. I would much rather spend this time riding that bike, not having to go drop this bike off, spend the money to Uber to the other dealership so I can deal with this problem. Like, it's so frustrating. A base model ZX10, it comes with cruise control. It is a flat plane inline four, just like the BMW, for $6 grand cheaper, and you can spend that money on mods or another motorcycle, or if you want to add heated grips so you can be just like the S1000. There you go. There was a comment I saw on, I don't know if it was on my page or someone else's, that destroyed me. It was like, I can't believe people spend an extra $6 to $7 grand for a ZX10 with heated grips. It's like, it's so right. It's like, oh my god, it destroys every argument that you have for the S1000. It's not super fancy. Dude, a ZX10 does the exact same thing. If not, probably a little bit more comfortable. And it probably is going to be, my guess, statistically, it's going to be way more reliable. Only reason that you'd be buying an S1000 is personal preference, which, again, you're spending all that money just to your personal preference. I don't think it's worth it. If you're gonna spend that money, why don't just get a Ducati and have it be way cooler? But you're gonna be getting like way better customer service. You're gonna be getting the bike back way faster, and it's way cooler, and it sounds better, in my opinion. I don't know, that's just me. Everything is more expensive on BMWs. Like, you're not saving any money by getting a BMW over a V4. I'm sorry, you're just not. This bike handles better, in my opinion. The only downside is it's missing the cruise control and the oh, let's see the condition of the bike too, because the dealership that it's been at doesn't store their bikes inside. Yeah, they don't, you know, your $30,000 motorcycle that you likely spent that money on as like a luxury purchase, because bikes here, at least in Ohio, are not treated as transportation. They're treated as like luxury items. Yeah, that $30,000 luxury item that you spent your money on, yeah, they're gonna store it outside. It is probably the #1 bike I regret purchasing ever, was that bike. Yeah, so we're gonna drop this bike off. I have to Uber. It's probably gonna be like 10 bucks, 10 to 15 bucks to go to the BMW dealer from Ducati. It's not that far down the road, but it's just so frustrating I have to do this. Oh, we're busy here. That fan was just chirping along. S1000's done. That's what they told me. Hold on, I'm actually gonna go get that on video. I mean, this is one of those first gen V4s, but wow. Alright, we made it to Sills. Yeah, Sills Motor Sales. They have this random Honda out here. I don't really want to film inside this dealership because I'm not here to say nice things about them. And so, we're here to pick up the S1000. I don't know if he wants me to come back there, or what are we doing here? I don't know. I don't know if you want me to come back here or not.
Clutch switch on it, because it seemed like that's what fixed another bike that I had trouble with.
Did you fix Austin's? Austin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're going to be alright with just the switch, but if not, let me know.
Cold start in 2023 BMW S1000RR. Never in my life have I ever been called into the back room of a dealer to have a situation explained to me, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly what happened. They left me with 13 miles on this thing. I have to immediately go to a gas station. Come on, guys. Well, she's not as dirty as I thought she would be after being left outside for 42 days. Not overnight. They bring them back in, as far as I'm aware, they bring them back inside overnight, but during the day, yeah. I don't know if you guys saw, they just leave the bikes outside, which is probably just fantastic for the paint to just be left in that UV light. So allow me to explain the situation that I just had to deal with in the back room of a dealership. Something I have never done in my life and something I never wanted to do in my life, but unfortunately just had that experience of having to do. I requested a buyback on my S1000RR, which according to Ohio law, I'm within my full legal right to do because the bike has been sitting in the dealership for over 30 days. When I dropped this bike off, I explicitly made sure to make it known that this bike was going to be dropped off for warranty downtime. Now that is a very specific thing that I made sure that was very clear that I was dropping it off for warranty downtime. And what that allows it is that starts a timer, and BMW has 30, or that dealership has 30 days. No, I don't need a car wash to fix this bike, or I can legally request a buyback from BMW corporate. BMW corporate does not want to buy this bike back. They are very unhappy about that situation. So they take it out on their dealer, which obviously is not happy about that situation. And so so basically what the dealership is now telling me is that the water pump basically blowing up, failing, leaking everywhere, was not a critical failure. I did not need to bring this bike back to the dealer when I did. And they also told me, had I not started this legal process of BMW buying this bike back, I would have gotten this bike back sooner. Now, I'm not going to argue if the water pump failing is a critical issue or not. I think anybody reasonable in the world would argue that the bike leaking coolant everywhere is a failure of the bike and is a warrantyable issue, which it was. BMW and that dealer agreed, and that's why the bike was fixed for free. Wow, that looks like a cliff to fall off of. Go, 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 go. Now, what I believe that they're angry about is the fact that I brought it in when I did, even though, to me, it just feels like a little bit of, I'm not gonna lie here, it feels a little intimidating. I don't know why she was bringing me back there to have this discussion. Why she couldn't have just told me very quickly out in the open, I don't know. Dude, it makes me so uncomfortable that I had to be brought in the back room like that. That was crazy. Like, what? Like, you guys, like, there was a failure. She was trying to say that other people who have more critical issues are higher on the list and they have to get to those first, but it's like, yeah, like, maybe you gotta hire more people, dude. Like, every other dealership I know doesn't have one person working on BMWs. It's crazy, especially when, like, everybody in this area has one. It's like economies of scale, you know. You gotta increase the production of getting these bikes fixed, because they break a lot, which again ties back to my issue of why you shouldn't buy these bikes, because they break a lot. They're going to be sitting in the dealer a lot, and if you don't have other bikes to ride, other options, which I'm, you know, very lucky to have that, but 99% of people who ride motorcycles only have one bike. And yeah, if you're not cool with your bike sitting in the shop, get a ZX10. Like I said, very, very easy solution here. Not, you know, you can still get an awesome inline 4, which is what I should have done. I can already tell this bike is running way cooler than what it was originally. That lady was telling me it was a non-critical issue when this bike was literally sitting at 211 degrees permanently. On the highway, it was sitting at like 200 degrees. Like, that wasn't running normally. Even though it was during a heat wave, like, I know this bike. I've been riding this bike more than any other of my bikes before it obviously had that critical failure. I know what this bike feels like to ride. I know what temperature it should be running at. Yeah, it's going up now. Dude, it was like permanently just sitting at that watch. Now that I'm moving it to 206, it's going to start going down. No problem. As this bike goes faster, it should be cooling down. Not the other way around. Not like my H2, which has a freaking supercharger on it. Of course it's going to get hotter as you go faster. I just felt, dude, I feel so belittled. Like, oh, it wasn't a big issue, so you shouldn't have brought it here as soon as you did. It's like, no. It's leaking coolant. I don't know what world motorcycle or car leaking coolant is not like a brand new vehicle. It had less than 4,000 miles on it. Leaking anything. That's a warranty issue. It needs to be fixed. It's not good for the longevity of the bike, if I continue to own this bike for a long period of time, to have it running at those hot temperatures for a long period of time. Like, the bike wants to be ridden at like 190 degrees. It doesn't want to sit at 200 all day. That's why the fans kick on. The fans should not be kicking on while it's moving at highway speeds. There's no apology. There was no, like, you know, I'm sorry this took so long. I hope, like, we can remedy this relationship in the future. They're just like, oh, you shouldn't have turned it in so early. Like, dude, like, what? You know what's the craziest part, dude? I had people tell me before I bought this bike, oh, those BMWs, they have lots of problems. That's why I'll never buy one. And I was like, oh, you guys are full of it. You guys are just mad you couldn't get one. And I'm sitting here like, why? Why didn't I listen? I was so arrogant. So please, if you're listening to this right now, do not, under any circumstance, buy one of these motorcycles. It is not worth it. The dealer experience from the bike itself, there are just bikes you can get for way less money that do the exact same thing. With that, I appreciate you guys listening to this Yap Fest, and I'm gonna go just put this bike away and grab my MT-07 now. So, love you guys. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.